Europe is a diverse continent, home to many cultures, languages, and traditions. Europe has long been divided into two regions, the North and the South. This division is commonly referred to as the North-South divide, and it has deep historical and economic roots. That said, there is no one definition of North and South Europe, but generally, the Nordic countries, as well as France, Germany, and the UK, are considered part of Northern Europe, while Spain, Italy, and Greece are considered Southern Europe. The north of Europe is generally considered to be the wealthier and more developed part of the continent. These countries are known for their strong economies, high standards of living, and well-developed infrastructure. In contrast, the south of Europe has historically been less economically developed. These countries have faced several economic challenges, including high levels of debt, low growth, and high unemployment. The north of Europe is generally richer in natural resources than the south. Countries like Norway and Sweden have large reserves of timber, iron ore, and other minerals, while the North Sea is a major source of oil and natural gas. In contrast, the south of Europe has fewer natural resources and is more reliant on sectors like agriculture and tourism. In addition, the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century led to the north of Europe experiencing rapid economic growth and development, while the south lagged behind. The Industrial Revolution began in the north of Europe, with countries like Britain, Germany, and France leading the way in developing new manufacturing technologies and industries. It also led to significant investment in transportation and infrastructure in the north of Europe, particularly in the form of canals, railways, and ports. This facilitated the growth of manufacturing and commerce and helped to connect Northern Europe countries with markets around the world. These countries experienced rapid economic growth and development, whilst Southern European countries were slower to industrialize and remained largely agrarian. This led to significant disparities in wealth and living standards between the two regions. Another factor that has contributed to the North-South divide is the global financial crisis of 2008. This crisis had a particular severe impact on the economies of Southern European countries, leading to high levels of debt and austerity measures that have further exacerbated economic inequality. The COVID-19 pandemic had a significant impact on the North-South divide in Europe, exacerbating existing economic inequalities and widening the gap between the two regions. The pandemic has had a disproportionate impact on Southern European countries, which rely heavily on tourism and other service industries that were severely impacted by travel restrictions and lockdown measures. In recent years, European leaders have attempted to address the North-South divide through a number of policy initiatives. These include programs like the European Union's cohesion policy, which aims to reduce disparities in economic development across the continent. The North-South divide is not just a matter of economics, it's also a cultural and political divide, with different countries having different attitudes towards issues like immigration, social welfare, and the role of government in the economy. The religious divide between North and South Europe has its roots in the Protestant Reformation of the 16th century. During this period, there was a split within the Catholic Church which led to the emergence of Protestantism. Protestantism spread rapidly in Northern Europe, particularly in countries like Germany, the Netherlands, and England, while Southern Europe remained predominantly Catholic. Over time, this religious divide has become more than just a theological difference and has also taken on social, cultural, and political dimensions. Northern European countries, which are predominantly Protestant, tend to be more politically liberal and progressive, whilst Southern European countries, which are predominantly Catholic, tend to be more conservative and traditionalists. It is important to note, however, that these differences are not absolute and that there is significant diversity within both North and South Europe. Additionally, the religious divide is not the only factor that influences these differences, and there are many other historical, political, and cultural factors that have shaped the continent's complex social and political landscape. The European Union has been a key player in efforts to address the North-South divide. Through its various policy initiatives, the EU has attempted to promote economic and social cohesion across the continent. Overall, The history of the North-South divide in Europe is complex and multifaceted, with a range of economic, political, and cultural factors contributing to the divide. It is an ongoing challenge that requires continued efforts to promote economic and social cohesion across the continent. It is important that we continue to understand the root causes of this divide and work to address them in order to promote greater economic and social equality across Europe.